Hello, hello! Your little cutie is back. I haven't made videos for a week now because I couldn't find my SD card for my camera, so I had to order a new one. Sorry. So I got sick, and this week has been a lot. But still, to be honest, compared to what you have to go through as a Chinese for the Chinese college entrance examinations, this is really nothing. I'm just being whiny. I find it difficult to do nothing. Like, we just come from our laptop to our tablets, and then from the tablets to our phones. Because my phone is basically dead, I need a new one. It doesn't charge anymore. When I go to the toilet without it, it just felt wrong. It felt empty. Last week, the water supply in my village actually died for a while. So some part of my village didn't have water for over 24 hours, and like, we couldn't cook, we couldn't flush the toilets, we couldn't take a shower, and people were making, you know what, inappropriate jokes. Exactly those ones. So I called my mom and told her about it, and she's just like, oh my god, that's so horrible, just come back home. I was like, isn't that a big extreme? And they actually fixed it relatively quickly. And she was just like, yeah, if it were to happen in Shanghai, they would have fixed it within, I don't know, 3-4 hours. Or the phone of the relative department of the government would be blown up. That is true though. I don't know about other provinces, but in Shanghai you do have loads of channels to complain about things, and it actually works. Today I also talked to my friend about, you know, some fake news about China, saying that if you run a red light as a pedestrian, you would get fines or get less credits in your, I don't know, credit account. First of all, I didn't even know that we had credit accounts. And secondly, wouldn't that be a bit too much? I mean, it just sounds too extreme. It doesn't make sense, right? Especially for such a cosmopolitan city with so many people. I mean, they definitely have more important things for which they spend time and effort. But of course, people like to hear really extreme things, and I can confirm that none of those is true, so calm down. Some people say that I have a British accent when I speak English. So the other day, the local basketball team here was at my campus giving out free tickets. One of them is actually from the US, and I asked him, where do you think I'm from? And he was like, from the United Kingdom, and I was like, oh, I was flattered, of course. And my English teacher, who's from Scotland, was also there, and I ran to her. I was like, oh my god, he thought I have a British accent, and she was offended. I'm actually just good at imitating pronunciations or like the accents from what I watch or whom I'm with. I feel like the grammar of that sentence that I just said was wrong, but it doesn't matter. You get it. Actually, about 10 years ago, I started to watch my first American sitcom. So my first proper accent was American. So I actually learned to speak English like this, but then I realized that I'm already very dramatic. If I have an American accent, like, you know, pronouncing every R's fully, it might be a bit too much, so I chose the middle. It sort of balanced out my dramatic personality, so I feel like this is the best of me now. Just imagine if I actually start speaking English with an American accent, it might be shocking for people who know me. And I feel like some people would be offended, like they would probably think that I'm imitating them, but I'm not. This is my 6th year of studying now, and yeah, it's been long. I have a bachelor's degree in German. Crazy, huh? And the reason why I had that is because I didn't get to choose, really. I had to finish that study of 4 years to be able to study something else in Germany. And now I'm studying business. And to be honest, this is very rare in China because I'm gonna be too old when I graduate and only have some bachelor's degree. Actually, many of my old classmates from my German study didn't really work in the field of language teaching or German or stuff like that. But also not many of them did what I did, which is starting from the very beginning. So I told one of my Chinese friends about this, and she was just like, oh my god, I wouldn't be able to do that. When I graduate from a second study, it's gonna be too late for everything. To be honest, I understand where that kind of stress comes from, but it doesn't really apply to me. Honestly, I just want to be happy. My life hasn't been the easiest. I just want to take my time to really heal myself. So it doesn't matter if I have a boyfriend or a fiance and get married by 30 and have children before I'm 35. And that's why I identify as a man, because I have the balls. But back to the water problem we had last week. It really made me think. I sort of have the feeling now that I don't deserve the things I have or I was born with, like clean water and good education chances, because the majority of the earth doesn't have it, or they have to fight harder for these resources. For example, my parents, my dad, he grew up without enough food. He lived in starvation, and neither of them had really good education. Their parents weren't perfect. We would try to even help strangers, so why can't we try and help our parents, even though they might have caused damages that can never be fixed? I really feel like I'm reverse parenting my parents, and they would just be so happy when they get some sort of recognition from me. Like my mom was asking my permission for her to go traveling, and I was like, yeah, it's your own life, your own time, your own money. And she's just like, yeah, but all our money is gonna be yours, and if you don't want to study anymore, if you just want to come back to China and then lie down, we'll support you for sure. And to be honest, they do make me feel like I'm the purpose why they live, because my mom has said that in words. Yeah, it's toxic, but it could be more extreme. But I'm actually quite lucky because my parents don't make me feel like I don't have any control over my own life. They actually try their best to support me whatever I want to do. But I also know people who are so manipulated by their families. It feels like their brains are just programmed to believe that they are not capable of doing many things, even though everyone has a limited potential. What I want to say is just that I don't really mind that my parents can't really provide me with maybe some sort of emotional support that I need, because I got all the resources they never had. So, but it is true that many Chinese parents are like candles. They really burn themselves or sacrifice their lives even just to provide their children with a better life. But sometimes they go to extremities. Fortunately, the younger generations understand these issues much better, so people are also more careful with having children. And that's also why less and less people want to have children, because all the responsibilities you would have to take for your children. For me personally, I'm just terrified of making mistakes. I don't want to traumatize anyone, especially my children, because I know what kind of damage it could make, and the impact could even last lifelong. And also, do you know that us type of Asian, we would need to take a break lying on bed basically for a whole month after giving birth to a baby, because our bodies are just different. We can't just go to a dinner reservation or go to the gym right after that, or else we might be sick for the rest of our lives. So that's also what scares me. It's a genetic issue. Speaking of genetic issue, we don't really have hair. I mean, like on our arms and legs. They're just like this naturally. And also there's no market for deodorant in China actually, but I think there are more and more people who use deodorant in China. Last week I was having lunch at school, and one of my professors from last semester saw me and congratulated me on getting a good grade. And he was like, oh my god, you did so well in the exam. And I was like, ah, stop it. Of course I didn't say that. I just said, yeah, thank you. used ChatGPT and he froze. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, I used it to prepare for the exam. And he was like, I thought you used it during the exam. That'd be cheating. But honestly, ChatGPT is great. But it's also thrilling because it makes me question myself, like, all those years of learning, and I would never be able to compete with it. And yeah, I'm honestly scared now. It just feels great that the professors would compliment on your achievements, and they're really easy to approach. And there's like no distance between us, because he's not the only one who's like that. When I was in China, in senior high school, the only times when the teachers would approach you is when you have extremely bad grades, or if you were a good student and your grades are not as good as the grades you had before. I don't really know about the educational system here in Germany, but in China, people do tend to focus on the future and will always push to be better or stay on the same level if you're already the best, which is 100 out of 100. So I grew up always having full scores in everything. The only thing my family and teachers would say was, keep it up. And if I would get like a 98 or 99, they would be like, oh, why didn't you get 100? Or try to get 100 next time. It's frustrating. And that's why I really like it here, when they focus on the achievements you just got. Anyway, what's done is done. I turned out just okay, so no worries. Since I got a new memory card, there's gonna be loads of room for bullshitting, so see you in the next 1,000 videos. Bye.